Hello and welcome to the world of NDE 4.0. My name is Johannes Vrana and today we have a special guest.
My name is Ripi Singh.
And today is a really great day because finally we are coming to the video we promised a couple of weeks ago. The two of us will discuss the why on NDE 4.0. Now, I'm pretty sure you remember the video I did on the why on Industry 4.0 and NDE 4.0, where I was really getting into the hierarchy of needs and doing a very high-level picture on the why of NDE 4.0. Then a couple of weeks ago, Ripi did this excellent video on the why on NDE 4.0, and he was really focusing on three major topics, one being safety, one being cost, and one being quality. And now, in between, both of us were we are having a lot of discussions with you out there, and we were getting some questions on more or less on why should I do it? And this is really what the two of us are now trying to answer. And I mainly got this question from inspectors. They were asking me, why should I as an inspector get into NDE 4.0? What's the benefit for me? Ripi, I think you got similar questions.
Yes, absolutely. I hear it from asset manufacturers, from the NDE equipment manufacturers. I also hear it from regulators. So, last time when we were having this conversation on our International Ambassadors program and we listed 6 or 7 stakeholders, if I look across, pretty much every stakeholder is internally asking that question. Johannes, you ran that survey also asking people about NDE 4.0, and I think some similar aspects came out even in that survey where different people were asking, what is in it for me? People are beginning to understand what NDE 4 can do to assure this system safety, but each individual party is asking, what is in it for me?
Yeah, this is about the same I was getting from the people I was seeing in the survey. And so which core groups you would say we would have to discuss it most urgently?
So Johannes, I would look at it from value stream perspective, and I will start from the tail end. At the tail end of the situation is the inspector who is out there at the front line assuring the asset safety. And then the asset owner operator is a part of the system. And then as you come upstream of that, there's an asset manufacturer, there's an OEM, NDE equipment OEM manufacturer. So we can look at it from that perspective and start from the tail end where the real value is being realized and come upwards to see how each party contributes to the benefit.
So starting with the asset owners.
Yeah, we can start with asset owners, yes.
Somebody like an airline.
Like an airline.
Yeah, or a power plant operator.
Power plant operator, railroad operators, bridge operators, the guys who own the asset, who operate the asset, whose job is to make sure that their asset is public safety.
Yeah. So why don't we see whether we can, for all of the groups we will discussing now, see if we can get those 3 points you mentioned in your video as a real benefit for all of those groups?
Johannes, that's a brilliant idea. I think we should look at these key stakeholders in the safety ecosystem and look at it from cost, quality, and speed or time or whatever that other dimension is. From each of those 3 perspectives, yes, we can look at them that way. That's a wonderful way to look at it.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan to go forward. So why don't we start with the asset owners?
Okay, very good. So asset owner, actually, that's where, if you remember my previous video, I was mentioning NDE 4.0 can really help assure asset safety so that you could quantify that under the quality perspective. Then the same programs can help you optimize the inspection program, what to inspect, when to inspect, really manage the workflow and be able to actually go to a level of predictive maintenance so that you have the least downtime. your asset availability is maximized, your cost for
Yes.
maintaining it is minimized, and you are assuring safety of the asset. So that's how I would look at NDE 4.0 really
Yeah.
brings.
You can keep your quality high while reducing the cost at the same time.
Exactly. You can achieve all three. Yes.
Yeah. And then perhaps even reducing the downtime, because with something like predictive maintenance, we can really plan ahead. When do we really need to do the inspection? And then
Exactly.
perhaps do it at a point where it doesn't hurt, because your
Exactly.
airline is anyway, or you are not flying because of you are on vacation or
Correct.
something like that.
Correct.
Or nobody needs power currently because everybody is out traveling someplace.
Yeah, power demands are very, very seasonal. I mean,
Yeah,
if you notice, most of the power plants, they take time out in spring and fall because that time their demand is the least. So if you can actually optimize your maintenance during lean times, it is the real economic value to the asset owner operator.
yeah. So I think it was really easy to actually see that NDE 4.0 is really, for an asset owner, it's really that we have all three of those reasons to do it.
Absolutely, yes.
And which other technology up to the moment helped achieving all three at the same time?
Well, whenever there's a revolution, there's a short period of time, 10 years, 15 years, when you're actually going through a transition, when you can get all three. So the last time it happened was in the 80s when the computers were coming in. But otherwise, when you are within a revolution like from 1995 till 2010 or so, you had to pick one or two out of those three.
Yeah, so yeah. I guess that makes it quite clear. So let's see if we have the same situation at the asset producers.
Sure. What do you think about it, Johannes? This is closer to your heart.
Yeah, this is with all my background in with my former employer, where we produced gas turbines for power production. In my From what I saw with the projects I did at that supplier or at that manufacturing place, we were actually having a lot of benefit from the NDE data, because what we did, we took all the NDE data, we did a lot of statistics on all of that NDE data, and finally it enabled us to actually calculate a longer lifetime, because it helped. We knew more about the internal structure of those components, which allowed us to sell to the customer a longer lifetime without actually changing anything on the production or the design.
Absolutely.
It was just more gaining more knowledge about that component, and we already got down that road. And at the same time, actually, we also got a better feeling on the product quality. And it was even that we were able to improve product quality by seeing trends at certain suppliers and seeing when we were coming to a point that quality was starting to fade, we were able to take measures.
Absolutely. Now extend this thing to the whole additive manufacturing domain, Johannes, right? I mean, the additive manufacturing provides you advantages in creating designs which are actually hard to inspect, and we are doing it for their performance reasons. And you can actually bring NDE into the manufacturing at that point in a manner where you can inspect a part being manufactured in process to assure quality of the final thing. I mean, the whole thing about getting sensors into the production system and bringing Industry 4.0 and NDE 4.0, fuse them together for an asset design, developer, manufacturer, is to a point where you can almost get away from doing final inspections for a product. It can be built into the system in a manner that as the production floor works, at the end of it, you have a top quality product.
Yeah. And then perhaps doing the NDE. If we are thinking about sensors will always give you a continuous stream of information, but only very point-wise information like, okay, some vibration data. And then combining this information with the NDE, which gives you only data in a quite long intervals, but then going a lot deeper into the product and really giving you a view into the component.
Absolutely.
So combining those two will really be the goal in the future. This is why we need on the one side NDE 4.0 with the traditional NDE methods, and on the other side NDE 4.0 with all the non-destructive sensors.
Right. And Johannes, let's bring another piece. We were just talking about asset operators, right? If asset operators are using NDE 4.0 and that data gets shared with the asset manufacturers, right, you can now get to a point where what was earlier we used to call predictive maintenance, you can take that a notch up to prescriptive maintenance. You
Oh,
can almost go
yes.
to the level of where the asset OEM can provide individual asset prescriptive maintenance to further optimize cost and safety of the asset and field. I mean, that's completely unheard of or untried up until now. There are some real value that's going to come out of this that we can't even see all of the benefits today.
Yeah, that's, if I think about what I knew half a year ago or what I talked about half a year ago and what I know now, there is so much more what I understand why we need NDE 4.0 or Industry 4.0.
Absolutely, because we are able to build on each other, And if our thought process is able to build on each other, imagine what you can do if your assets are also connected and can build on each other.
Yeah, this is exactly why I think NDE 4.0 is a world of collaboration.
It is a world of collaboration.
Because we need to, asset owners and asset operators need to work together. The NDE equipment manufacturers, the inspectors, the engineers, all of us have to work together to actually come to this world where everybody has an improvement of quality, improvement of safety, and of cost.
Absolutely. And that's why we use the term ecosystem. I mean, NDE 4.0 is pretty much an ecosystem. Everybody will benefit, but everybody must cooperate to benefit.
Yeah, it's not a single technology.
Right. And it's not for a single organization either.
Okay, so now let's see, we discussed the assets. Now let's come to the persons who are doing the inspections, the inspectors.
Ah.
Yeah, for them it's a different story because whether the asset has more value, that's not what the inspector, the person, is really interested in. So what's in for the inspectors?
So I think there are multiple things for the inspector again, right? First thing, see, every inspector wakes up in the morning and goes to his job. And there's only one thing on his mind. I do not want to make a false call today, right? He wants to make sure that when he calls something, when he calls out an anomaly, it really is there. And when he calls out a part is clean, fit for service, it is fit for service, right? Every inspector is always looking for his performance. And
Yeah,
if your instruments are better, if you have artificial intelligence helping you or intelligence augmentation helping you, if you have better ability to visualize anomalies, I mean, you could have that additional confidence you're looking for in making predictions.
yeah, this is I've talked with some inspectors and they said something like, yeah, I always feel like I'm with one leg already in prison.
Yes, exactly. And I want to get that fear out.
Yeah, and that should be no problem with NDE 4.0, with helping the inspectors, with helping them to get to that point that they can really make sure that their inspection is done properly and the data is done, the data interpretation is done properly.
Right. So, Johannes, think about it. 200 years ago, we used to do visual inspection. And then we came up with, hey, let's put fluorescent penetrant. Now I can see better. Then you come with ultrasonic and eddy current. What are you trying to do? You're still trying to see things, right? With ultrasonics and eddy currents and X-rays, you're trying to see beyond the surface. But when you see all these things through instruments, you also get a lot of noise. Now, if you get another tool in your tool chest, like intelligence augmentation, which helps you further separate out signal from the noise and helps you make a better judgment, helps you make a better decision, I mean, it's good for you, right? It's a peace of mind.
Yeah. And if I think about what an inspector is currently doing, he has to take care of all the paperwork, of writing up all the stuff, of seeing that he is coming to the place, of all this administrative extra stuff he has to do. And
Absolutely.
then
So we can,
he's getting tired or
yeah,
something else and not being able to focus on the job, which is really important.
yeah. So you can take the non-value added items out of his workflow completely out and make his job fun, right? Take the tasks which are mundane and automate those and let system and machines take care of it. I don't know, form filling and checking of the boxes and communicating, that can all go away.
Yeah, this is so. I think for the inspectors, it will be the world they want to have.
Plus, think about it. If you can have remote controls, right? If you can have robotics, if you can have, what's this company, Flyability, talking about flying drones with a little cage. So what does that do? That keeps the inspector out of the harm's way. Here in Connecticut, I talked to an inspector and I asked him, I said, what's your number one problem with inspection? He said, it's the weather, right? It's freezing cold in October, November, December. I have to go out and inspect the bridge. Think about it. If he doesn't have to step out of his hot truck, warm, nice van, and a robot can do the inspection, I mean, wouldn't he be a happy camper? Absolutely.
Yeah, and perhaps even if we think about our new reality and not being able to travel, it would
Oh,
be
yeah,
it,
absolutely.
it would totally be possible to use an operator which is on site, which is
Yeah,
perhaps not really well trained on that asset he has to inspect. But he
yeah,
can do the inspection once he needs support because he found an indication or something. Then we can use tele NDE to actually
Tally and
support that inspector.
excellent. Absolutely. So inspector also has got all sorts of benefits: safety, his personal safety, his or her personal safety, the quality of his output, the quality of the decisions he's making, and personal effectiveness and efficiency in terms of you don't count it as a cost, but you can count it as a personal efficiency by not having to do non-value added work. That's great, Johannes.
Yeah,
Good
therefore,
thinking, man.
it will even increase the value or the value output of his work is increased a lot. Perhaps it will even come to the point that he can earn more money because the data he's producing has more value.
That is quite possible. And no, by the way, if you think about it, every revolution, what that has done is it has it has brought new skill requirements for the job, and those skills are usually higher paying skills. So inspectors who start adopting NDE 4.0 are likely to see significant jump in their compensation in the coming years because they will have advantage over other inspectors. Their performance outputs are better, plus the skill required is higher, so they will command higher compensation.
Taking my point.
You can't
So,
lose.
so we already talked about that perhaps equipment can support the inspector. But
Yeah.
what's really in for our equipment manufacturers or NDE OEMs?
Well, think about it like this: the NDE OEM, what's the market for them? The market for them is the asset owners and operators, right? And NDE service providers. And if asset owner operator is looking for a better equipment, then the NDE equipment manufacturer step up to the needs and demands of the market and create a product that can meet the market demand. Okay, so for them, I think it's more about the choice between staying in business or not being able to keep up with where the technology is going and where the market is going and getting out of business. So I think for them, the motivation is more of a fear rather than greed. I mean, they better step up and start doing something. Otherwise, startups will come and they'll put new equipment out there, and the existing OEMs will go out of business.
Yeah.
That's their primary motivation.
Or perhaps even the big players from Industry 4.0 like IBM, Microsoft, Google, or whatever.
Yeah. It's so heavily digital technology. If the guys who understand the physics of NDE, if they don't bring digital into their system, then the guys who are doing digital activity will snatch the physics and they'll eat up the market. I mean, it's to me, it's like you better have a good reason not to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is and I think what's really important to understand in this whole NDE 4.0 activities or Industry 4.0 is that data is becoming the new oil. Data is getting a real value, and people need to work on that because otherwise others will do it. Others will mine that oil.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So does it mean, Johannes, I think you brought up a good point, and I'll ask a question over here, and something that you and I can explore in our coming 6 months to a year of activity around the business side of it. We could develop business models around data monetization. And if the equipment manufacturer has a mechanism to do it, their entire business model could change from instead of selling the equipment to selling the outcome of the equipment, which is assuring safety of the asset, right? So the whole game can change, and suddenly the equipment OEM guys, I don't want to name anybody, but I know a couple of them who are working in this direction. They could really change the game. They could snatch away so much market from everybody else. Oh man, you touched something that I need to work on now.
Yeah, that could change the whole NDE industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this is interesting. I got to think about the business model piece of it.
That's where you are better than me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. When smartphones came about in 2007 and now in 2020, did we ever think of how many gadgets will disappear from my desktop?
Yeah.
Right? And how many other things will disappear from my home because of smartphones? We didn't think of all those things. And then how many business models came around just out of smartphones, right?
Yeah, this is a smartphone is a new environment. And for me, smartphone is about the same as NDE 4.0 because it's a digitalization of a lot of steps. Yes. And with NDE 4.0, we are talking about the digitalization of NDE.
Yeah, absolutely. So Johannes, I have to admit that I've been in this subject now for about 3 to 4 years, and I still can't. I mean, I can see a lot of things coming about, but I can't see everything that's going to happen out there because so many dots are going to get connected and so many new pictures are going to emerge out of this. I cannot see all of them yet. It's just humanly impossible. And if I could see it, there's a good possibility my claims will be incorrect. So we just have to be active on top of it, see what emerges and take it as it comes.
Yeah, I think that was.
Let me ask you about a couple of other stakeholders here.
Oh,
what do you think about the NDE R&D guys, the universities, the Fraunhofer Institute? Where do they fit in this picture?
I would think they belong in a similar categories than the OEMs or the NDE OEMs, the equipment manufacturers, because they kind of provide what we as an NDE industry need to get to this future. And so it's really about, okay, that they take on the subject and bring it forward with developing interfaces, with developing AI, AR, and you name it, with developing all of that for the whole industry.
So if there is value being generated downstream by the asset owners and operators, right, then the R&D could be looking at it as a gold mine of funding opportunity next coming decade or so, right?
Yeah.
Because their ROI could be very high. I mean, there would be demands, and plus, as the things evolve, just like we were talking about smartphones 2 minutes ago, there'll be more and more technically challenging problems that industry will keep throwing at them continuously. So the universities that get into it now and establish themselves as credible frontline research and developers, right? They will probably be in a big demand when there's a larger acceptance of NDE 4.0 in the field.
Yeah, definitely. They, and we can already see it that we have a lot of R&D groups which are already focusing on this topic. If we think about the Fraunhofer Institute or also the group of Robert Smith or all kinds of groups,
Yeah,
they already see it.
they see it, yes. So, there are some asset manufacturers who are seeing it. There are some asset owners, operators are seeing it. Some universities are beginning to see it. Some ND equipment manufacturers here. I think we've gone past the innovators and early adopters. We're now into the early adopter kind of thing. I think we've got 10, 15%, 20% traction when we look at all of our committees that we get into the number of people who show up. So this is building momentum now. I think people are beginning to see the value.
Yes,
Every
definitely.
stakeholder is beginning to see the value, including the training agencies. They're beginning to see that, oh, this is coming. People are going to demand. We better gear ourselves both from the perspective of how we train inspectors, how we certify inspectors, and how we make managers aware of such and such things. So you and I both know a couple of training establishments, and they're both on the verge of what can we offer. I mean, they're starting with awareness training. So that's the right place to start. Once there's an awareness, then there'll be acceptance, then there'll be demand. So they're also getting into the picture over here, and we
Yeah.
should see some serious activity in the next year.
And I already got the question from some inspectors. Okay, how can I prepare myself for the world of NDE 4.0? And currently, there is not a lot of training offered in this area.
Yeah, and we need to develop both the content, the structure, and the delivery mode, which makes it easy for people to follow. Because traditionally NDE has been not as heavy on digital technologies, and digital technologies require a little extra effort to understand and adapt.
Yeah.
So the training is going to be a big piece, and it's going to be broader than what it has been in the past.
Yeah, it will be also the question what we will do with certification.
Right. Now you're opening up another box over
Yeah,
here.
I think that's a different video.
Regulatory box, and those are also important pieces. Think about it. Certification and regulations, they're also there to assure safety, that you don't create an asset or an equipment that goes into field and now creates a hazard for the public. So they have a role to play, and they need to be educated, right? So the certification bodies, the organizations like DGZFP, ASNT, all of these people, and then the regulators, whether it's for the airline or the aviation, they probably need to be educated on this, because in some sense they are gatekeepers. If they don't pick up the demand and the value, if they don't see the value and they don't allow these things to evolve, that's kind of a headwind for us that we need to work on. So the training establishments on one side, while they think about training inspectors, right now they also need to think about training the regulators and the certification bodies in some sense. So that back to the ecosystem, back to training everybody in the ecosystem.
Yeah, and if I think one step further on the regulators or on the standards we have out there, now number one, we have some standards out there which are telling us, oh, you cannot use digital technology. You have to use analog technology.
Yeah,
so that's the standards we have to work on very urgently.
Right.
But vice versa, if I think about an AI and how AI is applied, if you don't do it properly, you will get false results, and you will get them consistently false. So for me, putting up standards how to implement an AI, for example, what are the rules for an AI to be applied? That needs to be standardized.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe the role of regulatory bodies is more to participate along with the standards body, along with the certification body. They need to kind of have their own little a part of the ecosystem where their job is to assure that we don't have any blind spots and we don't leave dead bodies behind in our rush to go faster.
That could easily be. So Ripi, I think
My boss 10, 15 years ago used to say, he said, standard work is great, standards are great, but they are there to make sure that you don't make the same mistake again.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? Never use standards as an excuse to not create something new and more powerful.
Yeah,
Don't let standards stand in way of innovation, right? And NDE 4 is a serious innovation play at the moment. And but we have to build on the standards that are existing, and we need to build new standards for NDE 4.0 as we go forward.
yeah, this is exactly my saying. So I think we are running a little bit out of time. We're getting into a very long video already, but I
Well,
hope it was
this was
interesting for
exciting.
everybody. But I think we saw that we can actually really address all three of them: quality, safety, and cost. So Ripi, I think your video back then was really on the point,
Thank
and now
you.
we discussed it more in detail. But do you want to summarize a little bit what we talked about the last
Uh,
20, 30 minutes?
oh boy, that's summarizing is usually hard on a subject like this. Um, so if every stakeholder can see value on all three aspects, then I think if somebody says, why should we adopt NDE 4.0? Then I can just give you have only one reason if you don't want to adopt it. If you're planning to take an exit, sell your business, or retire, you don't need to adopt it, right? Because you're going to go live on your lake house and the world will go on without you. And that's fine, right? But if you want to be in business, if you still want to be a contributory, valuable member of the community, you're going to have to get into this NDA 4.0. You can choose to lead it or you can choose to follow it. That's okay. But if you choose not to get on the train at all,
It's also okay. It's a personal decision.
it's a choice. It's a
Yeah,
choice you can make. You can choose not to be on the train.
yeah.
But I see this train has left the station and is going to get faster and faster. We can just choose to be wherever. It's a choice we have to make. I want you to think about this way. Do you know of any business today which does not use a computer or an email?
Yeah.
Okay, because that would be a second generation business, second industrial revolution business, and we don't have those anymore left, right? So same thing will happen with the next revolution. 10 years from now, you will not have a business that's not using industry 4.0 technologies.
Yeah. So, and for me, with our new reality, we are even going way quicker.
Yes, COVID has accelerated adoption of industry 4.0 and NDE community. I tell you, within NDE community, those who had figured out how to do remote inspections, how to remotely consult, how to remotely take decisions, they had a much better time in the last 3 months. Data will tell. I have spotty data. Nobody has come up with a report like that, but very soon we'll find out that guys who were on path to NDE 4.0 outperformed during COVID as compared to those who were still waiting and watching.
Yeah, Rippy, thank you so much for all your input. Thank you for summarizing it. It was a pleasure having you here on this channel, and for me, it's always one of the highlights of the week is our weekly telephone call, because every week I'm learning something new. And
Johannes, I would echo the same feeling over here. It's been fun. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for running this YouTube channel. I think it's a great service to the community that you're doing every week, putting out a new video with valuable content. I want to emphasize valuable content, relevant content. It's fresh. People can use it. So,
yeah,
very good. Thank you. Keep it up. Good
and
luck.
I can see the same with talking with others, because it's always that if I'm talking with somebody else, both of us are getting new ideas and new business ideas, new technology ideas, new ideas what NDE 4.0 is about. And so that's why I think NDE 4.0 is a world of collaboration.
Very good. I don't want to open another question over here, but just imagine 10 years from now when two machines start talking to each other, two artificial intelligence machines start talking to each other, and then they can figure things out better than us.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah. Then we are coming to Industry 5.0? No. Let's see.
it will
So,
be there. I will be retired. I will be one of those guys who will say, I don't need Industry 5.0 because I'm ready to retire. But Johannes, you'll have to take it there.
let's see. So, I guess we are coming to the end. So, Ripi, thanks once more for being a guest on the show already for the second time, for all your input, for all the discussions we have. Thank you to all of you for watching this video. I think Ripi and myself, we will be doing more videos like this. It was a lot of fun for me. And perhaps I already have an idea for one of the next ones, kind of like, how can I get myself into NDE 4.0? Which different groups can I address? How can I get the education? Something like that. So if you're interested in that, leave your comments, leave your questions to this video, all down here below the video. Thanks once more. See you soon. And give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Bye.